Not being able to see or contact friends and family outside a dementia unit is one of the biggest stresses for dementia residents, but measures can be put in place to mitigate this in part. Often what happens, of course, is that you're visiting and the dementia resident forgets that you've visited and thinks that you haven't visited at all. So if you can put up a whiteboard in the room and say, 2 o'clock every Saturday, Sue visits and out for a drive, then your mother will be able to refer to that and have others refer to that, like staff and carers, nurses, etc., and say, Saturday, 2 o'clock, you're going out with your daughter. It's a lovely trip coming up, so that your mother isn't feeling bereft from the fact that she never sees you, when in fact she does. So that's one measure to put in place. Now, another thing is with phone calls. It's very difficult to make phone calls out from a dementia facility, and it can be very stressful for dementia residents trying to make these phone calls for many reasons. There's only 1 or 2 phones in the dementia unit that are available for outside lines. The charge nurse that makes the phone calls is often really busy, and she hasn't got time to make the phone calls with all medication rounds, dressings, and all her responsibilities. And then, of course, the dementia resident themselves finds it difficult to recognise who is the charge nurse or the person that I'm meant to be asking to make the phone call. And they feel like they're being fobbed off, when in fact it's just a time issue. How much time do you have in a day to do everything, as well as make phone calls for stressful dementia residents? So really the best way to go about this, we know that cell phones really work in dementia facilities. The best way of going about this is to make a regular phone call, say once a day. Say if it's 6 o'clock every night after dinner, you make the phone call, you tell your mother, you put it up on the whiteboard, 6 o'clock every night, I'm phoning, Bill's phoning, your son, so she knows that, staff can refer to it, you can tell staff that this is the case so that they can expect that 6 o'clock phone call every night. And then what the staff will then do is they'll put your mother, or you can even request that your mother goes into the quieter lounge area away from the TV where the news is on, so it's quiet and you can hear her. And so she's already sitting there after dinner. So when the phone call comes through and it's delivered to her, she's sitting, she's relaxed, she's in a quiet place, and she can speak to you. This will take out all the stress of the day for her. So rather than waiting and requesting for a phone call, if she does indeed do that, then the nurse can say to her, the charge nurse, look, your son's phoning at 6, so just wait till then, and of course your mother will be happy for that. So there's other ways too to be able to reduce the stress of not being able to see friends and family, and it's for the dementia resident to get so uptight because they feel that, not necessarily that they're being abandoned, but that mainly they say, look, my son's not seeing me, or my daughter's not seeing me, or they're not coming to visit. So visits are important, but special visits, special trips out are really the big heartwarming factor. If you can take your mother, for example, to the beach with the grandchildren and a walk along the beach or the promenade, have a lovely lunch out, if she's able to cope with that, she'll come back so happy from that. And those feelings, those happy, loving, nurturing feelings will sustain her for many weeks after that. She might not remember the detail of the actual beach visit, though sometimes they do if it's a highlight visit, but the feelings from that will sustain her for a long time. The regular visits, half an hour on a Saturday or whatever at the unit is good, but getting out really is the big thing that dementia residents love. I mean, they're yearning for it. They're in the dementia unit all week and they want to get out. They don't get a chance much. Maybe with the Tuesday or once a week van from the van outing from the dementia facility that goes once a week with maybe 5 or 6 people maximum to be able to fit in the van once you've got the activity coordinator and the driver, etc. They're not very big vans. And so, you know, your mother might only get on that van outing once a month, and it's not enough for her to be able to experience the outside world. And especially so, she'll be happy to have that outing with you. So if you can't manage the outings, if you're too busy, if you can get a friend of hers to take her out, or one of the grandchildren to take her out, or facilitate other outings that she can be included in on, that's also good. The main thing being that she can get that chance and experience to be with other people that love her and support her, etc. So it's putting in place all these aspects to mitigate the stress, so that she knows that she's being called at a certain time, she knows she's having visits. All of this is put up on the whiteboard, and the staff remind her of these facts, and this will mitigate the stress a lot. So it's just going through each of these segments, you know, of various stresses that the dementia resident goes through, if they go through that indeed. I mean, each dementia resident will have their bucket of stress issues, and some people have a lot less stress than others. So it's really just addressing one by one each of these aspects and coming up with a positive, practical solution that works for them, so that the overall stress is mitigated, so that they then can more ably manage living in a dementia facility. This is the whole aim of it, to reduce the stress enough that the person themselves can manage. And if these stresses are mitigated for them and they're able to manage and settle, then they can have a quality of life at a dementia unit. I mean, the resident themselves still has to make effort as well. And of course, they make tremendous effort to settle. It's very difficult to settle and manage stress of being in a dementia unit. But if we can support them and mitigate the stresses and reduce the stresses where possible, then this will give them a much higher chance of being able to manage and settle and live and have a quality of life in a dementia unit. So I've written 2 books on these subjects, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. Epilogues at the back of both books go into all these techniques. So the books are available on Amazon and my website, pietavalentine.com. So soft copy, hard copy, ebook, everything is there. So thank you for your support. Firstly, big appreciation from my part, and your looks, and please pass on these links and subscribe if interested in this channel and finding it of value to help people with dementia. Thank you.